Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Ready Steady Study, which is created for your better future. So guys, today we're gonna feature a science subject. So science session, this is the science session 1 and it is chapter number 1. So the chapter number 1 which we're gonna take up today is nutrition in plants. Okay, so we're gonna take up this chapter today and let's proceed further. So you're really excited to learn, right? Okay, so let's proceed further, guys. Yes? Okay. Now, so nutrition in plants. In class 6, you learned that food is essential for all living organisms. You also learned that carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals are components of foods. So these components of food are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. So you all have learned about carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals in your previous classes. So these nutrients are the components of food. That is what food consists of. Okay. So these components of food are called nutrients. Okay. So these components of foods are called nutrients and are necessary for our body. So nutrients are necessary for our body. Now, all living organisms require food. Plants can synthesize food for themselves, but animals, including humans, cannot synthesize food for themselves, right? So only plants can synthesize food for themselves. They get it from plants or animals that eat plants. So humans or animals, we get food from plants or we get nutrients from animals that eat plants. Suppose some people are non-vegetarians, so chicken, they eat chicken, right? So those animals eat plants, so we get it from animals. Thus, humans and animals are directly or indirectly dependent on plants. So humans and animals are directly or indirectly dependent on plants. Now, to go previously. So we talked about nutrients here, right? Okay. Now let's see what are nutrients. Okay. Yes. So here. So nutrients in food. So nutrients are like they are present in our food. Now, so nutrients in food. We're talking about carbohydrates here. Okay. So we're talking about carbohydrates. And you can see the pictures. Now they are needed to give the body energy, guys. So carbohydrates are needed to give the body energy. That's how you get energy, guys. So you have potatoes have carbohydrates, honey, and then pasta or anything made of wheat or rice or milk. Milk is not so much, but yes. So carbohydrates are needed to give the body energy. Okay, so first is carbohydrates. So you understood what carbohydrates are. Let's proceed. Next is fats. So fats are in the junk which we eat or like in the American foods. Not especially American, but in the pizza, burger, pasta. Yes, we know like everyone like them, but it's the fat food. So they help to provide concentrated sources of energy and help to insulate the body in cold weather. So they provide concentrated sources, which means like huge sources of energy and help to insulate the body in cold weather. So it helps to keep our body warm in the cold weathers. Okay, so this is about fats. Now proteins. So proteins, you can see there's cheese, eggs, meat, fish, milk. So they assist with growth and repair of the body. So proteins are assisting with the growth and repair of the body and they are found in animal products like meat, fish, cheese, milks and eggs. Now vitamins are found in fruits and vegetables, milk, egg and everything. They are needed in very small amounts for growth and health. Okay, so vitamins are needed in very small amounts for growth and health. Now minerals. So minerals, there are main two types of minerals, calcium and iron. So calcium is needed for the growth of healthy teeth and bones. So your mother or your family members say drink a lot of milk. So it is used to keep or it is needed to the growth of healthy teeth and bones, guys. Okay. Now, so you can see calcium foods. It's cheese, milk, eggs, bread. Yeah, so those are calcium content foods. Now, iron. It is needed for the formation of red blood cells. So, in the blood, there is something called as the red blood cells or RBC, which is used to give the blood the red color. Okay, so that is used to give the blood the red color. So, iron is needed for the formation of the red blood cells, and you get it in eggs, meat, and also on pulses and millets like that. So potassium, sodium, magnesium, and zinc are other types of minerals too. Okay, now we finished minerals, so let's proceed further. Now, so Bojo wants to know how plants prepare their own food. So you have a question, right? Like everyone wants to know how plants prepare their own food. Okay, let's proceed further and see that answer. So plants are the only organism that can prepare food for themselves by using water, carbon dioxide, and minerals. Guys, this is important. By using water, carbon dioxide, and minerals. Okay, so the raw materials are present in the surroundings. So all of these are present in the surroundings. So the nutrients enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies, and provide the energy to carry out life processes. So nutrients enable all of these things for living organisms. So they enable living organisms to build their bodies, to grow, to repair damaged parts of their bodies, and to provide the energy to carry out the life process. So you know the life processes which we learned in 6th grade: breathing, respiration, response to stimuli, and all of that stuff, right? All of that, excretion, digestion. So all we need energy, and we get energy from nutrients. Now, nutrition is the mode of food or taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the mode of taking food by an organism and its utilization by the body, guys. So nutrition is nothing but the mode of taking food by so we eat, so that is taking food by an organism, and it's so digestion. So when you eat and digest the food, that is called as nutrition. Okay, so the mode of nutrition in which organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic or self-nourishment. So the mode of nutrition in which the organisms make food themselves from simple substances is called autotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic is nothing but, auto means self, trophos means nourishment. So it's nothing but self-nourishment. So self-nourishment means, autotrophic nutrition means, I can give you an example like plants. So they make their own food from simple substances, right? So that kind of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition, which means self-nourishment. Okay, so it is just nothing but self-nourishment. Okay, so now therefore plants are called autotrophs. Animals and most other organisms take in food prepared by plants, right? So we don't prepare food, and only plants prepare food. So we take in food prepared by the plants. So that's why we are called, or animals and everything are called heterotrophs. Hetero means other, and trophs means nourishment. So other nourishment. So autotrophs means self-nourishment, and plants are called as heterotrophs, and animals are called as So plants are called as autotrophs, and animals are called as heterotrophs because they take the food by plants, which is made by plants, which means heterotrophs means other nourishment. Okay, guys. Now, Pehli wants to know why a body cannot make food from carbon dioxide, water, and minerals like plants do. So yes, that's a good question, right? So why our body cannot make food from carbon dioxide? Because even we can get carbon dioxide, even we can get water, even we can avail minerals. But why can we not do that? Okay, so let's see the answer. Now we may ask where the food factories of plants are located, whether food is made in all parts of a plant or only in certain parts, right? So we don't know exactly where it's made. So it's a question among all of us, where is it made? So how do plants obtain the raw materials from the surroundings, guys? Have you ever wondered that? Yes, of course you had wondered that. And how do they transport them to the food factories of the plants? So even if they get raw materials, how do they transport it to the food factories of the plants? So for all of these questions and this question and this question, here is the answer, guys. You all have learned about a term called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis, we are going to learn about photosynthesis now. So photosynthesis are the food making process in plants. So leaves are the food factories of plants, guys. In the leaves, the processing of food takes place. Okay? Only in the leaves, the processing of food takes place. So therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf for the processing of the food to take place in the leaves, right? So water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by the roots and transported to the leaves. So water and minerals which are present in the soil are absorbed by the roots. So when we put water to the soil, that is absorbed by the roots and then that is transported to the leaves. So carbon dioxide from air. Let's see. So carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny pores present on the surface of leaves. So carbon dioxide is present in the air, so that is taken through by the tiny pores present on the surface of the leaves. These pores are surrounded by guard cells. Such pores are called stomata. So the carbon dioxide is taken in through the pores called as stomata. So these pores are surrounded by guard cells, okay? Now it's really important to learn all of these points, okay? Now, Bojo wants to know how water and minerals absorbed by roots reach the leaves. Yes, right, roots are weighed down, right? So how does that reach the leaves? Now, water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels, guys, which run like pipes throughout the root, the stem, the branches, and the leaves. So water and minerals are transported to the leaves by the vessels. So vessels are nothing but like a network of veins, you can say, which run like pipes, or you can say which run like pipes throughout the root, the stem, the branches, and the leaves. So from the root it goes to the stem and the branches and then the leaves. So they form a continuous path or passage for the nutrients to reach the leaf. They are called vessels. So the path in which the nutrients reach a leaf is called as vessels. So you'll learn more about transport of materials in plants in chapter 11. Okay. Now there's another question for you all. So Pehli wants to know what is so special about the leaves that they can synthesize food but other parts of the plant cannot. Yes, that is a good question, right? So what is so special about the leaves that they can synthesize food and other parts of the plant cannot? Let's read to that. Now, the leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. So you all have learned about chlorophyll, right? Yeah. So the leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. It helps leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. Now, guys, so you all know that the leaves are green in color. So the leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. So that is called chlorophyll. So it helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. So chlorophyll helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize. Synthesize means prepare. This energy is used to prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. So you know that carbon dioxide was taken in through the stomata pores, which was surrounded by guard cells. And water and minerals was taken in from the roots through the vessels, through the vessels it reached the leaves. So you know how carbon dioxide and water was taken in. Now we're learning about how sunlight is taken in. Okay, so sunlight, the chlorophyll captures the energy of the sunlight. Since the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called photosynthesis. So now, photo means light, synthesis means to combine. So photosynthesis means to combine the sources of all this in the presence of light. Okay. So the synthesis or the preparation of food occurs in the presence of light. That is why it is called photosynthesis. to combine the carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the presence of light. So that is why it is called as photosynthesis. Okay. Now, so we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Now guys, why is chlorophyll necessary? Because chlorophyll helps the leaves to capture the energy of the sunlight, right? Now why is sunlight necessary? Because the synthesis of food occurs in the presence of the sunlight. So sunlight is necessary. Now why is carbon dioxide necessary? So carbon dioxide is used like, we take it through the stomatal pores, which are present on the leaves. So that is why carbon dioxide is necessary. Okay. Now, why is water necessary? So water is taken in through the vessels from the by the vessels from the roots, which are absorbed by the roots, right? So that is why all these are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a unique process on the earth. The solar energy is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. So the solar energy is nothing but the sunlight. The sunlight energy of the sunlight is captured by the leaves and stored in the plant in the form of food. Okay. So thus sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. So this is a very important statement. As it is in bold, it makes it really important. So that's why they say sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Yes? Do you get it, guys? Okay. So before we proceed to the further page, I have something you all need to learn here. Okay. Let's see here. So now photosynthesis. We learned about photosynthesis. So you can see that sunlight is reaching the leaves, and then the and the water is reaching the leaves through these roots, from which it goes up by the vessels and it reaches the leaves. So carbon dioxide is taken in by the stomata, and after this what we get out after the process of photosynthesis is oxygen. Okay, so you need to remember this process. So what we get out from the process of photosynthesis is oxygen. Yes. Now, so guys, here I have a new topic for all of you. You might have not learned this in the previous classes, so please pay very, very, very close attention to this topic. Okay. Now, you have seen that buildings are made up of bricks. Similarly, the bodies of living organisms are made of tiny units called cells. Okay. So bodies of we can say humans, animals, or anything are made up of cells. All cells. You've heard about the term cells. So cells can be seen only under the microscope, guys. It cannot be seen under the naked eyes. So some organisms are made up of only one cell. So some organisms like amoeba and stuff are made up of only one cell. So the cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called the cell membrane. So you can see the cell picture over here. So this is the cell, one cell, two cells, like that. So cell is covered by a thin outer boundary called the cell membrane. So you can see this is the cell membrane. So most cells have a distinct centrally located spherical structure called the nucleus. So can you see all of this, the central structures? So that is the centrally located spherical structures, which are called as nucleus. Okay. So these have the centrally located spherical structure called the nucleus, and the nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called the cytoplasm. So can you see this all yellowish substance? So that is called as the cytoplasm, guys. So this is about the cells. So cells make up the living or bodies of the living organisms. So that's why it's a basic knowledge about cells. Now you all are very curious about cells, right? Like, this is one picture, but are you really, really curious? Okay, so see here. So now a cell, this is a real image of a cell. So this is the inside part of a cell. So you know that there's a nucleus. So this is the nucleus, as you can see. Okay, ignore this nuclear membrane and ignore this ribosomes. Just ignore that. And the nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like structure called the cytoplasm. So this is like the jelly-like structure called the cytoplasm. So guys, nuclear membrane is nothing but the thin outer boundary of a nucleus. Okay. So that is the thin outer boundary of a nucleus. That's it. But you don't have to learn that right now. And a cell membrane is a thin outer boundary of the cell. Okay, so this is the basic structure of a cell, all you need to learn. And please learn the diagram of this. So learn only this diagram, don't learn this diagram, okay? So you should learn this diagram, and you should learn how to, write the parts of the cell in this diagram, okay? So learn thoroughly everything in this part, and this part is really important, guys. So this is the sign of important, everyone must know it, and if I put this, it means it's really important, okay? Okay. Now, we finished the process of photosynthesis, right? Now let's go further. So can you imagine life on Earth in the absence of photosynthesis? Oh my god, what would happen then? Okay, let's see. So in the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. That's right. So the survival of almost all living organisms directly or indirectly depends upon the food made by the plants. Yes. Yes, right? So all this. So guys, in this that they're trying to tell us that in the absence of photosynthesis, there would not be any food. And if there's no food, then how will all of us survive? So that's what they're trying to say in this. So as all the survival of almost all living organisms directly or indirectly depends upon the food made by the plants, you know that we cannot survive if there was no process of photosynthesis. So that's why besides oxygen, which is essential for the survival of all organisms, is produced during photosynthesis. So if there's no photosynthesis, the oxygen would not be produced, and then of course we would not be able to breathe, and hence there would be no life on the earth. So life would be impossible on the earth, guys. So that is why photosynthesis is really important. So you can see a picture of the photosynthesis also here. So light energy is falling from the sun, and carbon dioxide is taken in by the plants, and water and minerals is absorbed from the roots, and then chlorophyll is present in the leaves, and then after the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is released. Okay. Now, during photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves. So cells. So cells make up all the parts of the living organisms. So plants are also living organisms, right? So during photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves, figure 1.2. So this is the chlorophyll containing cells of leaves. Okay. So this is a leaf, and this is the stomatal opening, and this is a section of a leaf. So this is a chlorophyll cell. Okay, so these all are chlorophyll cells. Now, during photosynthesis, chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. Okay, so this is how they prepare carbohydrates. The process can be represented in an equation. So carbon dioxide is taken in plus water in the presence of sunlight and in the presence of chlorophyll, and it is used to produce carbohydrates and oxygen. So you can see these are the chlorophyll cells, and the stomatas, right? So these are the stomatas, and these are the guard cells of these stomatas. Okay, so these are the stomatas, and these are the guard cells of the stomata, and this is the chlorophyll containing cells. So this is a section of a leaf, which is when you put under microscope, only then you can see this. Okay, so now they're telling us here, these chlorophyll containing cells of leaves in the presence of sunlight use carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates. So in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the leaves use the carbon dioxide and water to synthesize carbohydrates and oxygen. Okay, so that is the equation of the photosynthesis, guys. So you can see here in a leaf, this is a leaf, right? So this is a stomata. Now this is the diagram of a stomata, and this is the stomatal opening, which you can see, and you can see the guard cells around it, right? So this is the stomata, which you can only see this when put under a microscope, guys. So that is a stomata, and there's a stomatal opening, and there's guard cells to it. So we learned about this in the previous lines, right? So this is about the process of photosynthesis. So guys, I'm going to tell you again, this diagram is very, very important. Yeah. And this diagram is very, very important. Okay. So these two diagrams, you should learn it thoroughly because they can ask in your exams also. So now, during the process, oxygen is released. So you can see here, during the process, oxygen is released. The presence of starch in the leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. So starch is nothing but carbohydrates. So if there's starch in the leaves, it means that the process of photosynthesis had taken place, right? So that's why the presence of starch in leaves indicates the occurrence of photosynthesis. Starch is also a carbohydrate. So that is why you get to know by seeing the presence of starch, you get to know whether the occurrence of photosynthesis has taken place or not. So starch is also a form of carbohydrate, guys. So this is all about photosynthesis and everything. Okay. Guys, so you can see this. We learned about photosynthesis right now. So sunlight plus carbon dioxide plus water is, when you do this, you get glucose or sugar. Guys, glucose or sugar is nothing but carbohydrates. Okay, so sugar, starch and everything are same. So glucose or sugar is nothing but carbohydrates plus oxygen. So in the presence of sunlight, when we the leaves take in carbon dioxide plus water, and the leaves give, after the photosynthesis process, the leaves give out sugar or starch. So sugar or glucose or starch or carbohydrates are stored in the leaves in the form of food, guys. Okay, so it produces glucose or sugar or starch or carbohydrates, and it gives out oxygen, guys. So this is the process of photosynthesis. Okay, this is more helpful, right, rather than reading in a textbook. They say pictures are really more helpful, so here it is. Okay, so now guys, we learned about photosynthesis and how photosynthesis occurs in the leaves. So guys, this is the main process of how photosynthesis occurs in leaves. So that's it for today. Yeah, that's it for today, I guess. Oh, yeah, there's a small topic. So now, beside leaves, photosynthesis also takes place in other green parts of the plant. So besides leaves, there are other parts of the plant where photosynthesis can take place. Other green parts, guys, not in any other parts, only which are other parts which are green. So in green stems and green branches only, not in brown branches or brown trunks or anything like that. So in green stems and green branches. The desert plants have scale or spine-like leaves to reduce loss of water by transpiration. So you know what is transpiration? The loss of water through the pores of stomata. So water goes out, the excess water goes out through the pores of the stomata when there's excess of water in the form of water vapor. So it goes out in the form of water vapor. So to prevent that, the desert plants have no leaves. They have like spine-like leaves so that no transpiration takes place. In desert, there's like really scarce of water, so that's why they have spine-like leaves to reduce loss of water by transpiration. These plants have green stems which carry out photosynthesis. So they have no leaves, as leaves help in the process of transpiration. They just have green stems which carry out photosynthesis. Okay, so you can see here. So they have spine-like leaves, right? Yeah, so they have spine-like leaves. So they have green stems which carry out the process of photosynthesis. And they're spine-like leaves because to prevent the process of transpiration to take place. Okay, so you're clear with this? Okay, guys. So if you have any doubts at all with the process of photosynthesis or the part in which I just explained, you can leave a doubt in the comment section below, and please, it would be great to have your comments on this topic or your comments on my teaching also. It would be really nice. And guys, it is that's it for today's session. I'll see you in the next session, and thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe to Ready Steady Study for more content also. So this is my science session 1, and next I'll be doing another science session also for continuing the chapter. Okay, so I'll be doing more science sessions, and I'll be doing more math sessions, and I'll be doing sessions on all the subjects. So you need to like, share and subscribe to Ready Steady Study so you can avail more content for free. Okay, so guys, this is all for today's session. So today we learned the process of photosynthesis and how raw materials reach the leaves, and how the photosynthesis, or what does photosynthesis mean, and how does photosynthesis occur in leaves. And we learned about the formula of photosynthesis, and we learned about the chlorophyll cells in the leaves, and we learned about cells, and we learned about the photosynthesis process in the deserts, and we learned about autotrophs and heterotrophs. We learned about autotrophic nutrition, and we learned about heterotrophic nutrition, and we learned about nutrients. So that is all for today's session, guys. Hope to see you in the next session, and thank you all for watching, and like, share and subscribe to Ready Steady Study. Okay guys, see you in the next class. Bye.